Hey guys, throwers for the 2021 season. If you've never met me before, some of you maybe have, some of you maybe haven't. I am Coach Hubby, and unfortunately I have a spring break trip scheduled for our spring break. I have two little kids, and both of their spring breaks lined up with our spring break, which never happens. And so we decided to go on a trip. And we booked it months ago before I knew this was going to be the first week of the season. So wish I could be there training with you guys, but I will for sure be back next week. I'm just going to do a little video here quick to show you guys some of the things you can be working on. Most of you, I know Adam has probably the most experience of anybody, and Nick has a little bit of experience, but most of you guys maybe have never even thrown before. So I'm going to show you some of the stuff that we would kind of work on if I was there. And unfortunately, you know, a lot of the stuff you might have to do from home, because throwing is one of those things where we can't have you in a gym at school just throwing shot puts around without a coach there, because if somebody got cracked in the head with a shot put, it would be not good. So the first thing that we do pretty much any normal track season is we start learning how to throw the shot, because we call ourselves throwers, and that's kind of how everybody refers to it, as throwing the disc and throwing the shot. But when we talk about throwing the shot put, we're actually pushing the shot put. We're not throwing like a baseball. If you try to throw a girl's shot is 8.8 pounds and a boy's shot is 12 pounds. If you try to throw a almost 9-pound or 12-pound steel ball like a baseball, your shoulder and your elbow are not going to be real happy about it. So the first thing that we do, and this first thing that I can have you guys work on, is releasing the shot put. And you can do a lot of release work without having a shot put in your hand, actually. So just kind of an example that I saw in a video recently was, you put your hand on your chest like this, right? And you take your finger and you try to hit yourself as hard as you can, keeping your hand on your chest with your finger. Okay, it's not very hard. Okay, now if you take your other hand and you pull your finger back as far as you can and let it go, okay, your finger hits your chest like, 10 times harder than what you could do this way. So that's the same thing when we release the shot put. Okay, we have the shot put sitting on our middle knuckle, so all the weight of the shot put is going to be right here, and we want to flick our wrist when we push that shot put. Okay, so what we're going to do first, and I'm going to kneel just so I can make sure that my hand is finishing in camera. You guys can kneel. Sometimes I have throwers kneel in practice. You could do it standing up. I mean, to be honest, you could probably even do it sitting on the couch while you're watching TV, but I'm just going to kneel just so my hand is in camera here. All right, so I'm down on my left knee. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put my hand up underneath my neck. The shot put is going to sit kind of right below your ear here, and I'm going to use my other hand to kind of simulate that flick. So I'm going to put my other hand on my fingers, kind of like this. And then I'm going to fit that imaginary shot right underneath my neck. Okay, so a couple things we want to cue on is we want high elbow and we want thumb down. Okay, so we're always thinking high elbow, thumb down. Okay, if you're a basketball player, if you've shot a lot of basketballs, okay, you do not want to throw the shot this way. Okay, high elbow, thumb down, because that's going to get your chest muscle into the throw. And if you do it this way, it's kind of more of a tricep extension. So if you think about it, how much weight could you do with a tricep extension, and how much weight can you bench press? You probably can bench press quite a bit more than you can do on a tricep extension. So hand here, elbow high, thumb down, and then I'm just going to lift my chin and I'm going to puff my chest out. Okay, we don't want to have a sunken chest and hunched shoulders. We want to have big chest, chin up, hand here, and then all I'm going to do, it's pretty simple, is just here. Okay, so I'm releasing those fingers off of that hand, and I'm throwing the shot put up kind of at a 45-degree angle. And when I finish, okay, I want to check and make sure, is my thumb still down? Okay, if I finish and I've turned my hand now, so now I'm like a basketball shot, that's not what we want. We want to do this over and over, and a lot of the throwers get kind of bored of this. But if you're not used to the motion, you know, you've probably been throwing baseballs and snowballs and all kinds of stuff your whole life like this, and you've been shooting baskets like this. Not a lot of people are used to that motion of throwing, so we do this a lot. So when after I show this to you, when you guys are training on your own, you know, I would do this, you know, for 20 minutes at least. 20 minutes, eat more if you can stand it. But for at least 20 minutes, I would spend 20 minutes every day, okay, either kneeling or sitting or whatever. Okay, finger here, elbow high, thumb down, hand right below the ear, and then just flicking and then checking and seeing, is my thumb down? Did I throw the shot put kind of up at an angle? You know, you don't want to be throwing it straight forward. So hand here, chin up, puff your chest out, and then just over and over and over again, flicking that wrist and checking every time to see, am I getting that good flick? Is my thumb finishing down? And you know, you could do that for 5 minutes, and then you could take a little break, and then you could go and do it for 5 minutes. I guess doing that for 20 minutes straight without stopping would get a little old. But, you know, whatever position you want to be in, that is going to be a great start to your training. So if you spend 10 to 20 minutes or more, like I said, if you can stand it, if you do that every day, you know, Monday through Friday, that would be a pretty good start. And so when I come back after spring break and we put an actual shot put in your hand, that motion will come a lot more familiar to you if you've done that repetition, you know, a couple hundred times. Okay, so now we're going to fast forward a little bit, and we're going to talk about the power position. Okay, so the power position, or some people also call it a standing throw, is kind of a throwing the shot put from a stationary position. Eventually, in a couple of weeks, hopefully with some drills and stuff, we will work on the gliding motion, which is where you glide across the ring to push the shot put out. But for right now, for this week, especially with me being gone, I think the releasing the shot put and just working on the power position and a couple of strength training exercises, I think will be plenty. So for a power position, okay, a couple ways you can do this. I have this rug underneath me that has lines on it. If it's nice out during the week of spring break, and you can go outside and you have maybe a piece of sidewalk chalk, a good thing would be to maybe draw a line on the sidewalk, or even just if you have a crack on the sidewalk. But if you get some kind of a line, even like painter's tape, if you could put a line of painter's tape, if you get some kind of a line, what we're looking for is we're looking to have our feet positioned the right way. So I'm going to have, if I'm right-handed, my left foot is forward. So my forward foot is going to be on the near side of the line, okay, face towards me. So my lines are going this way. My back foot, my right foot, is going to be on this side of the line, okay? So I've got the line is going in between my feet. I've got my left foot, or my forward foot. If you're a left-handed thrower, it would be the other way. You just have to reverse everything I say if you're left-handed. But if I'm right-handed, I would have my left foot behind the line this way, and my right foot is on this side of the line. So it's going to look like this. Hopefully you can see my feet here. My feet are in what we call an open position, and that allows me to be able to get my hips turned this way. You can imagine if my feet were reversed, if I was this way, okay, that would be a closed hip position, and it wouldn't allow me to get my hips through all the way. So I have that stagger in my feet, and then what we're going to work on is so we have our imaginary shot up here. So I've got that stagger in my feet, okay, and then I'm going to pick a point on the ground. Again, if you had chalk or some tape or something, you could put a little piece of tape or chalk line or something, maybe 18 inches behind your back foot. And I'm going to take my left hand and I'm going to point my left hand at that position, and I'm going to sink into my right knee about as much as it is comfortable, okay? If you're super strong and super flexible, no, you're not going to be like down into like a parallel squat, but you're going to sink into that right knee, and it's going to look something like this. So now I've got my imaginary shot. I've got my feet staggered, so my front foot is back and my back foot is forward, okay? And then I'm going to take my left hand, my non-throwing hand, and I'm going to point it at that spot about 18 inches behind my back foot. So now I'm ready to do that and to push the shot put. And now that's where we get into that motion that we were just working on with that flick of the hand. So one thing, it's not really a drill, but one thing you can do, especially if you're new, is just get into this position a whole bunch of times. So if you've never done it before, if you've never been in a power position, just practice over and over. Put your shot up under your neck, split your feet apart so you have that forward foot back, and you've got that heel toe stagger. And then I'm going to take my left hand, point it to that spot behind my back foot, and I'm going to sink into that knee. Okay, so you're thinking, you're twisting your shoulders. Okay, so if I was going to throw away from the camera or in this direction, okay, I'm going to try to get my shoulders twisted all the way back facing towards you guys, and I'm pointing that hand down and then sinking into that left foot. So you could do that, you know, if you spent 10 or 15 minutes, just boom, feet stagger, sink into that back leg, twist that shoulder around, point that hand down behind, and then just stand up again, and then do it again. Hand up here, point back, twist that shoulder around. If you just practice getting into that position, okay, just like this over and over again, that would be a good start. A couple of other things you can do, okay, if you have a rope or if you have a exercise band like I have here, you could tie it to and make sure, if you're doing this in your house, make sure it's something sturdy. I don't want to have you guys pulling your railings out of your stairways or whatever. But if you have a sturdy railing in your house, or it works really good if you have a partner to do this with. I'm going to take this exercise band and I'm just going to loop it around this little exercise bar that I have zip tied to my end table here. And the purpose of doing this is because when we initiate that throw, so I get to here, I get that foot stagger, I point that foot down, I twist those shoulders back 180 degrees from the direction I'm going to throw. And when we initiate that throw, okay, the first movement that we want, boom, is we want those hips and that knee to turn. And we don't want to start opening up the shoulders until the hips have gone first. So it's knee first, then hips, then you're going to open up those shoulders and you're going to push on that shot put. So we do this drill in practice a lot. So we have this exercise band, and the purpose of this is to close off our upper body and to keep our upper body twisted up as much as possible until the very last second, because that's the main way that we build power in the throw, is we have that segmented release where the lower body's twisting first, not at the exact same time, and then the upper body just a fraction of a second later is going to twist. So what it's going to look like is you have your rope or your band or whatever you can figure out. And you can even do this if you have a partner. If you have nothing if you have no band or rope, you can even just kind of hook fingers. So if you just hook fingers like this, you can hook fingers with your partner and they can kind of hold you back a little bit. And all it's going to look like is you get into that power position and you're just practicing. And you're not letting go of that band. You're just using that band to hold your shoulders back, and you're trying to push those hips forward in the direction of your throw. So I'm throwing this way now, away from the direction of where my band or my partner is or whatever. And I'm just trying to twist that lower body as much as I can. And I'm not thinking about pulling. This isn't a roll. I'm not pulling on that exercise band or pulling on that partner. I'm trying to push my hips forward and leave my upper body as twisted up as possible. Okay, so that's another thing you can do, is you can just drill turning those hips. Boom. So from the front, I'd be holding onto that band. I'm trying to get those hips turned and leave that upper body back as much as possible. Okay, and then from there, once you've done tons of drilling with that release motion and you've done some of that hip turn, then you can pop the hips through, you can let the band go, and then you can finish that throw. And when you finish, you want to practice pushing your belly button forward and keeping your chest up and back. Okay, when you finish that push, you don't want to be pushing your head forward and hunching forward. You want to be finishing in what we call a reverse C position. So right now my body is in a reverse C, and I'm finishing with my chest up and my chin up, and I'm here because, like when you bench press, if you're going to do a big bench press, you're going to try to arch your back a little bit, and you're going to get a big chest, and you're going to push this way. Okay, when you do a big bench press, you're not going to put your shoulders forward and lift your head up and do this. Okay, you're going to be here. So same thing when you throw that shot, big chest out this way. Another thing you can do, and I'll use this is literally just a broomstick that I had in my garage, and I just unscrewed the broom head. So we can take this broomstick, we can put it on our back, okay, just like a squat bar, and we get into our power position again. So I have that heel toe split in my feet. My forward foot is back, my back foot is forward. I know that's kind of confusing, but forward foot, so my foot that's opposite my throwing hand is back a little bit, and my foot that's right underneath my throwing hand is forward. And I'm talking about forward in terms of the direction that I'm facing, so it's forward. So I'm going to get that squat bar kind of simulation thing up. I've got my feet positioned. I'm going to crouch into that back leg. I'm going to twist those shoulders back away from the direction that I'm going to throw as much as possible. And then using that segmented release that we just talked about, I'm going to push my hips forward and try to push my belly button out and get to here. All right. So again, I've got my foot position. I'm sinking into that back leg. I'm twisting those shoulders back. And then boom, I push that belly button forward. And I lift that chest, and I have that big chin up this way, and I'm just doing that over and over. And even just in what I'm doing now, I can feel, because I haven't been doing a lot of this stuff, I can feel my right quadricep muscle right here is starting to get a little tired. So this is strength training in and of itself when you're crouching down into that back foot as much as possible. All right. So those are some things that you can work on, you know, in your garage or even in your house if you have enough space. I'm in my basement right now, so you know, if you have a band or a rope that you can do those drills with, where you're pushing the hips forward and holding onto that band. If you have a stick like this, where you can practice getting into that position, boom, And you know, for sure everybody can do the that release drill where you're just putting your hand here and you're just practicing finishing thumb down and flicking that wrist and having that kind of sideways flick with your hand. All right. So what can you do for strength training, right? If you're not going to school, if you're not at school and you're not in the school weight room, and if you don't have access to any other weights, obviously if you have access to weights, yeah, that would be awesome. If you could bench press and you can squat and you can deadlift and you can overhead press, and you know, if you know how to do a power clean, we'll learn all that stuff when I get back. If you don't know how to do that stuff, but if you know how to do all that stuff, power cleans, hang cleans, overhead press, incline bench press, squats, all that stuff is fantastic. So you should be doing that if you have access to the weights. If you don't have access to weights, here's a couple things you can do, okay? I would suggest that you do these things probably if you can fit in like 3 workouts during spring break. So if you want to go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or you know, if that doesn't work out, you could do Monday, Tuesday, Friday, Monday, Thursday, Saturday, whatever days work for you. But the first thing, and you'll kind of see why, first thing you can do with no equipment whatsoever is a lunge, okay? So when we throw, you really need to you have to have good balance, and you have to have good strength in both of your legs, but especially for shot put in your right leg if you're a right-handed thrower, or left leg if you're a left-handed thrower. So we can do lunges, right? We can, if you have enough space, you can do a walking lunge. If you don't have enough space, you can just do it like this, where you take a step forward, touch the knee, come back. Take a step forward, touch the knee, come back. Step forward, touch the knee, come back. Okay, just like that. If you have some weights, you know, if you've got dumbbells, 10-pound dumbbells, whatever, you could hold dumbbells up on your shoulders this way, and you could do the lunges that way. Okay, you can, you know, if it's nice outside, you can go outside and you can do a lap around your house and do those lunges. I would say I'm not gonna tell you a number, because for some of you guys, you might be in fantastic shape and you could maybe do, you know, 50 lunges in a row and it wouldn't really be that much of a workout. And maybe you've never worked out before and you're really untrained right now, and doing 8 lunges might just kill your legs. So just do the lunges until you feel like you could maybe do a couple more, but it's starting to get to the point where you think, yeah, I'm not going to be able to do a whole lot more lunges. And then stop, rest for 2 minutes, and then do another set, and probably get in like 3 sets of lunges. Okay, so however many lunges that is for you, just keep going until you feel like you could probably do, you know, 3 to 5 more, but then that might be about it, and then do about 3 sets of that. So you're doing those lunges. The other thing you can do with no equipment is you can do a push-up. And probably the best way, if you're strong enough, would be to do an incline push-up. So what we're going to do is I have got my couch here. I'm going to put my feet up on the couch, and then I'm just going to do push-ups. So feet up on the couch here, and then I'm going to go down and back up. Down and up. Down and up. Down and up. Okay. Those are great because that's training that kind of chest and upper shoulder muscle for that pushing motion. If those are too hard for you, yeah, you could do regular push-ups. Regular push-ups are great too. And again, I'll tell you, I won't tell you to do 5 or 10 or 15 because you guys are probably all at different levels. So some of you might do 5 and think you're going to die from doing 5, and some of you guys might be able to do 40. So if I tell you to do 10, that's not going to work for everybody. So again, I would say do 3 sets of push-ups. So you're going to start doing push-ups and go until you feel like you could probably do, you know, 2 more. So if you get to, so let's say you get to 8 and you feel like, yeah, if I had to, I could do 2 more, and that's going to be about it. Then stop at 8, rest for 2 minutes, do another set, and just play each set kind of by that RPE scale, what we call it, the rate of perceived exertion, meaning if you're going to do an RPE 7 set, that means that you go until you feel like you could do maybe 3 more. RPE 8 would be you feel like you can do 2 more. RPE 9 would be like you feel like you can do 1 more. I would say you want to stay in that RPE 7 to 8 range. So you're doing those incline push-ups, you feel like you could maybe do 2 or 3 more, that's a set. Rest for 2 minutes. Do another set. Rest for 2 minutes. Do another set. RPE 7 or 8. And just keep doing those and do, you know, 3 or 4 sets of those. So you got your lunges, you're working out your legs, you've got your incline push-ups, and then you're doing all that work with the getting into the power position and practicing turning your hip through and swinging that leg. Another thing that you can do, I don't have one with me right now, I don't think, but another thing that you could do that would be, let me see if I can, well, I could do it with like a, let me see if I can do it with a phone charging cord. If you have some kind of a phone charging cord, or if the best thing is a key with a lanyard hanging off of it. But if you put that key in your pocket, I think you guys will be able to see this. So now I've got this cord kind of dangling out of my pocket. When I get into that power position and I go to turn my hip, I'm thinking about whipping that cord. So I want that cord to swing as violently as possible. So when if I just do it gently and I go, and that cord isn't swinging, I'm not swinging those hips quite as quick as I need to. So I'm sinking into that back leg. I'm taking that left hand and pointing at that spot about 18 inches behind my back foot. And then boom, I'm trying to get that cord to really, like there's somebody here that I'm trying to whip with that cord. So that kind of gets you in the mindset of how that violent hip action has to be when you turn those hips. So that's another thing that we do in practice. But if you do all that stuff and you're doing your lunges and your incline push-ups, and I will also, I don't know if I can share my YouTube playlist with you guys, but there's, you know, 5 million awesome YouTube videos of how to throw shot put that have way better production value than me being in my basement. So I'll try to share some of that stuff with you guys too. But do that stuff, and then hopefully when I get back from spring break, we'll get right to training, and we'll get you guys and girls all throwing the shot put and discus as far as we can. So do that work, and I will see you guys when I get back. All right?